The brokerages were changing. People were leaving the traditional models and wanting something more for their business, wanting to pay, less to their brokerage, wanted to have some equity, wanted to have passive income. We were seeing that, we were hearing it from our own agents. Some of our agents that had left us, they were like, we love you and all this, but man, we don't want to be in a traditional model anymore.
Because if you're going to start whatever it is, whether it's a club, a band, a business, you want to go with the top sports team. You want to go with people that are great at what they do, but also that mesh with your character. And because if you're gonna have to be around them, you there's nothing better than working with people you like.
Clear as day. I'm driving to my in-laws. I'm about to go to Bible study on a Wednesday. And I'm like, God, and it's quiet in my car. The kids are going crazy in the back. And I was like, God, if you need me to move, I just need an answer. Just give me a hint. Literally, within 2 minutes, I get a message from Jeff. He's like, let's. Welcome to another episode of the Cedeno Experience. Today we have some amazing guests. You guys like that, right?
I love the name.
Awesome.
I wasn't expecting
Cedeno
that.
Experience.
Yeah.
Ready for an experience mode?
He's like, I haven't done this, and then now we got an experience. I love it.
I try to get the introduction down the right way, but I want you guys to introduce yourself first. We'll start off with ladies first, right? Introduce yourself, a little bit about yourself, and what you do.
Thank you. Claudia Zaker. I've been in the business for 21 years. I hold a broker license and an NMLS license.
Love that. You must have started when you were like 15 then.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
right out of high school.
Sophomore year in high school.
Almost.
Love it.
I like the Cedeno Experience.
Yeah.
Can't wait to what you guys say about me. Mauricio Perez. I go by Mo. I have been in the business for 25 years. I also hold a broker's license, an NMS license, and I'm lucky enough to partner with this lovely lady right here.
How long have you guys been business partners for?
About
13 years?
13.
Really?
I want to say 13, 14 years. Yeah, but 13. Yeah, probably.
How did that come about?
Wow, so that's a great story. Well, I started as a single agent and then built a team, and then my husband and I acquired a franchise. It was actually a Keller Williams franchise.
Is that why you're wearing red today?
This is actually a slight reddish orange.
It's not the KW red?
No.
All right.
I'm all blue now.
Good.
Well, we acquired a Keller Williams franchise, and it was we took it over from a failing market center. And we had to rebuild, start from scratch, and start assembling the team. And we wanted the best of the best, so we looked around for a top-notch broker. And that's when we met Mo.
My name came up.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's funny enough because I had just been through that same experience at another KW up in La Jolla, where the operating principal, the owner, had taken over a failing market center.
Okay.
And I had been an agent. I had had my broker's license for 12 years, but I had only been a broker associate. I was never the responsible or designated broker. So I kind of felt like I was stuck. I was closing probably 18 deals a year, doing loans, but I felt like I needed to do something uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that opportunity came from like 3 different people that I knew, and I was like, you know what? I think I have to do this. I don't know why I did it. I became the broker record. I was closing 18 deals a year. Became the broker record for a market center with 220 agents.
Oh, shoot.
In a luxury market, which is La Jolla, right?
Yeah.
So I had just gone through that, and I can talk about that later, but we had just gone through that for about 2 years, got the hang of it, and then the opportunity came from Claudia and Max to do the same thing here where I lived in Chula Vista.
Okay.
So it kind of came, from the sky, and I was like, yeah, I can handle that. I just did it.
Yeah.
So that's how we became partners.
Love that. And you do stand out, right?
A little bit.
Yeah, because not only are you a top producer, but you're like 7'8" or something like that. So
call me Wemby.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm 6'8". I'm a 6'8" Mexican.
That is insane.
Yeah,
you don't see those.
Stands out a bit.
The people I grew up with, they're a bunch of Oaxacans. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm kidding.
I could always find him at networking events.
Yeah,
Where's Mo?
for sure.
Oh, there he is.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, we have the same version of you. His name's Jeff. He's my business partner, so it's like the same people,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys started this KW thing, right? You guys were, doing well.
Mm-hmm.
What gave you guys that mindset to say, hey, I want to continue to build on this and grow, because there's people who build offices and they get to 20 agents and they're like, we're good. They get to 100 agents and we're good. But you guys kept going. What does that vision look like? How did that even come about?
And that was a switch for me, because I operated just independently for myself, growing my team. And it's different when you're running a team of 10 to 15 agents, closing lots of transactions, to now running a brokerage. So it was more of my husband that said, hey, let's now get into business, because he's a business guy. We've owned several businesses, from restaurants to bars and dry cleaners, mailbox, et cetera. You name it, we've been in the business entrepreneur world. So he says, well, we're in real estate. Why don't we do the same and build a business out of it? But it was such a shift for me just to do it on a larger scale. I was a coach, a mentor to our team, but now scaling that up, and how do you do that with now acquiring staff to help you, and hiring a manager and a broker of record and everything else. It was definitely a learning curve on how to run a brokerage, and then how to attract, right? How to recruit agents to come along with you. And starting from zero, we grew it to about 150 agents, and then alongside, doing mortgage and then escrow, and we can get into that as well. But it was definitely a learning curve.
Yeah.
Right, in making that switch.
Yeah,
I think having the right partners makes it easier, because like Claudia, I also ran a team before, really focusing on, hey, let's grow the brokerage instead of growing my personal team, right? So it also helped that we came through the ranks. We were both producers. We got to produce at a high level. When we came together, we each have our strengths. So we weren't trying to really. We have different areas in which we're strong in, and we were able to trust each other. And that, hey, anything compliance related, contract, like don't even worry about it. Like, I got it, okay.
Yeah. Love that.
And anything that was like more, hey, the strategies of how to grow, how to manage, like that was never my forte. So then I'm like, hey, you got this. And then along the way, we with Max, her husband, and also Chuck, our other business partner, we were able to really find our strengths, and we had enough trust to just focus on what our task is, and then organically you see the growth.
I love that. I want to talk about that process a little bit, because that's super important. That's one thing that we've had to develop as leaders on our team, to say, hey, who's doing what, right? What's your role, and how do you do it at the highest level? Now, before we get into that, I want to mention, knowing that you guys are so welcoming, and knowing your guys' heart, I knew coming in that this was going to happen, right? Like, you guys have this huge heart to serve people, and you see it every time somebody comes in here. Somebody's giving you a hug. You get like 10 hugs before you even walk 5 feet, right? And so you guys built this amazing culture here. So I just want to let you guys know about that everyone that comes here is super welcoming, and we love that. But now on the operation side of it, right? How do you guys separate your guys' roles? Like, something I want to give the audience something that's tactical, right? Mm-hmm. So was it as easy as sitting down and writing down this, or did you guys come together? Like, what did that look like?
Well, I think in the beginning of the year, when we first started working together, we knew what our strengths were already, right? We knew that compliance, and just like Mo said, I didn't have to worry, Mo didn't have to worry. We trusted Mo 100%. And it's very hard when you're building your own business and you're running your own team. You're used to calling the shots, right? Yeah. You're everything. The ego gets in the way and all this other stuff. But if you really want to scale up, you got to be able to leverage. You got to be able to bring in the right team, be able to let go of some of the things that we hold on to so tight, especially when you're a real estate agent and you're building a team. You want to do everything. You want to have a say in everything. But, that's limiting. You're not able to scale it. How many hats can you wear? How many, it's tough to do that. So it's really believing that you're bringing in the right talent and then letting go and trusting them. So when there was a decision coming up where perhaps maybe Max and I thought, okay, we would probably be lenient, or we would probably let this go, and Mo would say, no, we have to hold the line. This is what we have to do compliance-wise. We had to trust and say, okay, you know what? It's not going to be our way. We have to really trust and empower Mo to do what he does best, to be able to, take us to the next level. And that's what we had to do. And we do that in with all of our staff, right?
Yeah.
On social media side, on the marketing side, on HR issues. It's across the board now because we're running a big business.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing.
And it's never going to be perfect, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we've tweaked a lot of things, but going back to the key piece of trusting your partners, I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, right? I mean, obviously, there was a time where we first met, and I didn't know, them. It grows.
Yeah.
So as long as somebody is acting in good faith and doing the things that everything's transparent, and there's a reason behind why you do things, there comes a point where then they've given you reasons and been transparent that you no longer question it because you've built that trust.
Yeah.
So it's not like we came in and they didn't have any questions initially, or I didn't have any questions, but sometimes you go through certain scenarios, certain decisions where you're like, okay, great, this is how they handled it. And so the conversations, I think, initially are longer and a little more, I don't want to say questioning, but there's obviously curiosity behind things.
Yeah.
But now, it's like,
Full
cool.
trust.
There's times, that we still disagree, right?
Yeah.
We get in. You should.
We
you should
disagree
be
all the time.
You should be a fly in our boardrooms
Yeah,
when we
I
get
would love to.
together.
All the time.
I would take
We
you on
meet,
that.
on a weekly basis, and
Yeah.
sometimes our meetings last 3
4 hours,
hours,
yeah.
4 hours.
Yeah.
They're like,
And-
quick meeting at 5. I'm like, oh, God, call my wife. I'm not going to be home till like 9.
That's awesome. Oh,
And
yeah.
we just, go at it. But you know what? We have such a high level of respect
Yeah.
that even though we disagree, okay, tell me why. I still don't agree, but tell me why. And we go at it and we go at it until we say, okay, wow, okay, now I'm seeing it from your perspective. I get it. All right. Let's
Yeah.
compromise, or yes, I agree with this. So it's a
Yeah.
back and forth, and it's still, after many years, we're still at it,
That's awesome. And it's awesome to see because a lot of times you start as like honeymoon stage, right? And you're starting now, you're like, man, this is great. And then it starts getting kind of ugly. And you're like, you have to battle a little bit, right? But it's you're battling for the business. It's not like you're
Exactly.
battling against one another. So I think that's important to remember. As people are building something now, there are going to be those times where it's tough. There's going to be those tough conversations. I was just telling Mo about a conversation I had with Jeff on the way over here about commissions with our team members. And we were trying to set up like on their personal split, not to get into it too much, but like he was like, yeah, I think this is just going to get too messy. And I'm like, Jeff, like this is how I want it, bro. And he's like, I don't agree. And I'm like, all right, we can talk about it later. Like I was like, he called me and I was like, I'm talking to ChatGPT right now, trying to figure this out. Let me call you in 10 minutes. And then he's like, okay. So
I
and
love
then
that.
yeah.
ChatGPT to the rescue.
Yeah, I'm like going back and forth with, we'll call him Chad, right? Like we'll go going back and forth with Chad and he's like, I'll call you in 10 minutes. Okay, perfect. I called him and we're good. After that, we're fine. All right, let's move forward.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of that. So I appreciate you guys sharing that. Kind of shifting gears a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have been growing this out. You guys have to protect your brand. You guys have to protect what you guys are doing here. Now, you guys recently made this huge switch, right, to another brokerage. You guys, and then when you guys were introducing yourselves, like, oh, they're being so humble. You guys are part of the founding partners of this company. So I want to open that up a little bit. Why did you guys decide to leave the operation you guys had with the other brokerage and join Realty of America?
Yes, I'll take you one step back, right,
Okay.
to know
2 steps
why we
back,
made it.
maybe.
2 steps back. So when we had the franchise for 10 years, and we knew towards the end of the franchise that our real estate world, the brokerages were changing. People were leaving the traditional models and wanting something more for their business, wanting to pay, less to their brokerage, wanted to have some equity, wanted to have passive income. We were seeing that, we were hearing it from our own agents. Some of our agents that had left us, they were like, we love you and all this, but man, we don't want to be in a traditional model anymore. So we started seeing that trend, and then being, as a franchise owner and going to the conventions and being behind the scenes talking to other franchise owners, we started to see a lot of those companies, a lot of the franchisees that were just like us closing down and switching their brands or doing something else. So we said, okay, there's a trend here. We had to make a decision whether to renew the franchise for another 10 years or get out. And where were we going to go? Were we going to go become, Mo and Claudia brokerage? or what, were we going to be independent? Were we going to merge with someone? We had a lot of decisions to make, and that happened over not just, over a long period of time, even a couple years before when we were in that window that we were able to decide what our choices were. And so that's when we decided we were looking into going to a cloud-based brokerage. We knew that's where the future was. That's where all the growth we were seeing trending upward. Even at the conventions at our traditional brokerage, they were, running the numbers, and it was plain to see, what companies were going down and what companies were growing. But we weren't sure yet. We were between two cloud-based brokerage, the biggest ones before ROA, that were out there, and we looked into both of them. Because we had to make a decision quick, we decided to go independent for a bit.
Okay.
We had the opportunity to team up with to have a Zillow Flex account.
Nice.
And so we rode that wave. It was short-lived, just for a few months, less than a year. And then we decided to go over to a RevShare company. We can talk about the RevShare company and what that company was, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we decided on Real Brokerage over EXP. Those were the two we were deciding between. And we were there for 2 years. There were things that we weren't crazy about, but, we had built such a big business ourselves here. And we were named constantly in the top 5 of teams at Real Brokerage, both, quarterly, monthly, at the conventions yearly. So we were doing well, but we just weren't connected with the upline. We weren't connected with, never once did the president come by. We bought our own building, which is a beautiful state-of-the-art building we're sitting in now.
Crazy.
It's an $8 million building that we designed from the ground up. And never once did we get a visit from the president, a call, even though he's actually from this area, very close to us. And we never had that. So we said, you know what, that's okay, put our head down. We're in our own bubble. We'll just keep doing what we do. Nothing was terribly wrong. But we weren't, it wasn't the optimal, what we would want. And so that's when, through NAREP, because both of us are past presidents for our local chapter, the NAREP, which is the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. I'm a past president for San Diego. Mo's a past president. Actually, Mo got me into NAREP.
Look at that.
And
OG.
Yes, he's the OG. And through NAREP, that's how really this company was, that's where they met, the two individuals, our CEO and president, and that's how this opportunity came to us.
Yeah, so I'd been involved in ARB for quite a while, and that organization, if you're not familiar with it, is a top-notch, organization where you're exposed to kind of the cream of the crop of real estate, right? So I was fortunate enough to meet a lot of great people that kind of just expanded my way of thinking of what was possible, and I was lucky enough. Actually, I just termed out. I was on the national board from 2020 to 2025. And one of the good friends I had met for the last decade that I also overlapped on the national board was Mark Demas. And Mark was constantly in the number one agent in the nation for NAREP. And then actually in 2022 he was the number one agent by Wall Street Journal and Real Trends. So not just in the Hispanic cohort, but in just in the nation. So he when he came to the realization that he wanted to do something massive, along with Eddie Garcia, our CEO, and they started approaching people that they knew were doing big business and that had good character, just good people, right? Because if you're going to start whatever it is, whether it's a club, a band, a business, you want to go with the top sports team. You want to go with people that are great at what they do, but also that mesh with your character and because if you're gonna have to be around them, you there's nothing better than working with people you like. So they approached a lot of us, and Mark. I had a good friendship with Mark, and he knew that I was doing great things, that I had a strong partnership, and so they approached us with the opportunity, and after I was in from day one, I'm like, hey, I don't care what you call it, if these guys are in, like I'm in. To me, it was
talking
like
about.
Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, and Shaq coming to me and saying, "Hey, we're doing a team. You want to play?" I didn't ask, "Hey, are you sure?" I'm like, "I'm in. I don't care.
Am I on the bench or
I don't- it
am
doesn't
I
matter.
starting five?
It doesn't matter, right?"
That's right. That's right.
So
And for me, it was a different story.
it's a totally different story because she didn't have that relationship with Mark and the people that were involved. So
I was like, who's Shaq? Who's
Yeah, exactly.
Michael Jordan? I've heard of them, but
Yeah.
what?
Right.
but can they really?
That's
She's like, can they
awesome.
really play? I'm like, yeah. Let me show you. So, and again, there's a funny story behind this that I'll let her take over. But it was we had just gone through the change from Keller Williams to independent to Real. We had only been with Real for a year at that point when the opportunity came, and we were just launching our mortgage company, which was also not even a year old. We didn't even have the occupancy permit for this building.
Wow.
And I come with the idea of, hey guys, like listen to me. There's this great opportunity
Oh my
of
God.
a new
Let's
company.
move one more time. Right?
Oh my gosh. That makes me
So
anxious.
I got chewed out, man, and so I got denied twice. And really I got denied a third time, but I didn't. I'm like, I had to say, listen, just have dinner with Mark and Eddie, and if you guys don't like them or see zero interest, I will shut up for the rest of my life. I will never bring it up. I will resent you, but I will never bring it up. Because to me, it was like, it was a package deal.
No brainer.
It was a no-brainer, but it was a package deal. Like, I wasn't going to go
Yes.
without my team, right?
For sure.
It was
for
all
sure.
or nothing.
You're here.
Yes. So finally, they kind of, I guess it was just to shut me up. They're like, fine, we'll meet, right? And I'm glad that I pushed because, I think it was one of the best, decisions of our career.
And I'm glad you did. I'm glad you didn't listen to me the first two times I told you no.
I love that, man. Gives me chills thinking about it. Bro.
If
That's
I've
awesome.
learned something throughout my life is that persistence is way more valuable than talent, than anything else.
Say that again. Look in the camera and say that again. Man.
Persistence is the most valuable quality you can have.
Love that. I love that.
Indeed it is. And for us, how agents are about making change. I
Yeah.
mean, for us, even learning a new tool or anything like that, right?
CRM,
We
whatever it
freak
is.
out. So just
That's
picture,
why people have their on their profile pictures, their business cards, pictures from 30 years ago. They do not want to change even that.
Even
I
changing
took it
that.
off. I took mine off. That is awesome.
That's funny. So we just think back. We have 150 agents, 140 agents, somewhere around there. The number we had switched and followed us to independent, then switched again in less than a year to another brand.
To pay again, right? Like
To
they-
pay
they all had to
again,
pay,
yes, and to redo their signs and their business cards and change up their marketing and
Yep.
all of that good stuff, right? And then now the idea of doing it one more time, all in a matter of 3 years, switching for the
Yeah.
that was a decision that I did not take lightly, and that's why I had said no twice to even sitting down and hearing of the idea, because we just had so much going on, and I could not think of sitting and looking in the eyes of our agents to say, hey, here we go one more time.
Yep.
Right. So that's something that we thought about a lot. So we finally agreed to say, yes, we'll sit down for dinner. And we did this really for Mo, my
Love that.
husband and I. And so get this, I'll paint the picture at dinner time. We're in downtown San Diego. We walk in. Mo is quiet. He just sits down and he's just quiet the whole time. Max, Max is my husband,
The businessman.
the businessman, the
Yeah.
analytical man. And he sits there, and the first thing he says as they're introducing, he goes, I'm here, but I'm not here. That was the famous line that he says that Eddie and Mark still use today.
And I was like, so I'm all smiling. I'm sitting down, like, cool, this is going to happen. And also he says that. I'm like, oh, man, that's not what I wanted to hear.
That's not a good way to start the conversation.
Did you guys not have like a pep talk before you guys got
No,
drove in?
man. And then, but he says it with a smile, right? So I'm like, this is not good. Fast forward 6 months, he is now the COO nationwide of the company. So I'm like, Max,
Now-
I'm pretty sure you're here.
He lives, breathes, and everything.
About it, yeah.
Realty
I
of
love
America.
That. No, I love that story.
Yes, and I was impressed by, of course, their numbers and what they have built. But again, I was thinking all about our agents. How was this move going to be life-changing and benefit our agents? How was I going to be able to sit down and look our agents in the eye to say, guess what, we're doing another switch?
Yeah.
And were they going to follow us again now to this company? So
Love
we,
that.
yeah, so that was a decision we
Yeah.
thought long and hard about.
Love that, man. We thought about the same stuff, right? We walked into this office, so I mean, we had a similar story where it was Jeff, the one was like, no, we're not doing this, right? And I'm like, bro, we gotta do this. Like, this is gonna be the best opportunity we've had in our careers. We have to do it. And I flew in to meet with Mark and Eddie, and then flew back out to meet my family in Reno after because we were on vacation. Right, so I flew in for a 1 hour meeting. I won't tell anybody it was Southwest, but the story is a private jet, but it wasn't. It was Southwest, and flew in, and we had that meeting. And I was like, yeah, like this makes so much sense. And then we had the same battle. Me and Jeff were fighting. Like this guy is like not ever fighting with me, and we were like not talking to each other.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it was
I know that.
crazy.
So who wanted to and who
He
didn't?
did.
I wanted to.
You wanted to.
Yeah, but Jeff didn't. Not and for good reasons, because he was trying to protect the team, right? Like,
Yeah.
so his
So
vision.
same with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to protect the team, and I'm more like, bro, let's do it. What's the worst thing that could happen? Like, that's how I live my life. But Jeff's not like that. He doesn't operate that way. So I remember praying about it, and I'm driving to and I clear as day. I'm driving to my in-laws. I'm about to go to Bible study on a Wednesday, and I'm like, God, and it's quiet in my car. The kids are going crazy in the back, and I was like, God, if you need me to move, I just need an answer. Like, just give me a hint. Literally within 2 minutes, I get a message from Jeff. He's like, let's just do it.
Wow.
It was like I get chills thinking about it right now. It was the craziest thing. I was literally in my head just praying about it, and I was like, just give me the sign. Like, I just need, like, because at the end of the day, Jeff's like, bro, if you decide to go, I'm with you. Like, just know that. Like, we're not gonna break this up. And I just got the message, hey, bro, let's just do it. It was kind of like, I hate you, but let's do it. But yeah, that's how we did it. So it's crazy
awesome.
to see that you guys had kind of a similar story,
Yeah.
right? So when people are making these big changes, they got to look at everything, right? But they also have to look at the opportunity right in front of them.
Yes.
And sometimes we've seen it many times before. The opportunity will pass us by if we don't take advantage of it. So when that opportunity comes, you guys have to know that the opportunity is just around the corner. And it's one call from me, one call from Mo, from Claudia, from Gabe, whoever is in our company, right? To say, hey, we have this amazing opportunity. We have this great leadership that's leading. We believe in the vision. And sometimes some agents just got to take the leap, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Some people are so fearful of change and fear of the unknown, but that's what opportunities are, and that's what taking risks, and that's why people's lives get changed when they take the opportunity, when they believe, when they take the risk, and they just go for it. And for us, we left a lot of money on the table because we left a lot of unvested stocks. We were going to lose a lot of our downline that were in other states, right, that we didn't have that connection with to bring on board. But we believed. We saw the vision. We knew that this was going to be life-changing for our agents. We had to make this move for them.
Love that.
And that's what we did.
Love that. Well, good. I do want to close out with a couple of things here. I do want to shine some light on Women of ROA.
Yes.
So kind of talk a little bit about that. Well, why is that on
Love
your heart?
it. Well, that is something that it's been at my heart. Something that I've always wanted to do is because I know that, I struggled a lot, being in business, especially being women in leadership, being able to have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And to speak up and have a voice, right? We do so much as women. We juggle so much, from family to kids to being a mother to being a wife to being a caretaker and all this other stuff, and to run a business. So it started from a conversation right at launch date where, all the men being featured at Realty, they were all men pretty much, and I was the only female. And it was a conversation with a couple of ladies that we were talking to about ROA, and they said, Claudia, we saw you, and that's why we agreed to sit down, because we saw a woman in a leadership position as a founding partner, and that's why we're here at the table to hear about Realty of America. And we just had a conversation, nothing about real estate. It was just all about life and about our struggles, and it was a safe space. And we said, you know what, we need more of this. We need more of this in our business. And that's when I said, let's get all the ladies that are here at the convention together. Let's do a mastermind. Let's take a photo. And that's when I came up with Women of ROA.
Love that.
And from there, it just took off. We just had a retreat. So we picked leaders, women who are running big businesses. Either they were running independent brokerages or franchise brokerages like I was. We came together. We formed kind of the first board, and now we're going to go out to our cities and our states and creating chapters and doing masterminds and perhaps having a day at the convention, our first convention, and then every year after that. We have groups that are women in investing and doing flips and say, hey, why don't we have an investment pool and we can start investing in commercial property and doing development projects and things of that. So it's all unfolding. I'm so excited about it. We have some amazing women who run big businesses, and it's just a support group. So I'll share with you our vision, and that is it's be the voice, make an impact.
Love that.
So the vision is be the voice, make an impact, and that's really what it is. It's how do we have more women step into leadership positions, whether it's running a team, whether it's whatever it is that they want to do in their school, whether it's their kids' school projects, running, for a board seat, local association, whatever that is with their city, is stepping into leadership, having a voice, and then taking the lead and coming together, supporting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And you guys are taking charge, because the event you guys put on in LA, that was all the ladies, right? Crystal, you,
Yes.
Monica Singer, like you guys put that together, and I was like, this was all them, right? We
Grace.
did a couple of polls, and it's just incredible to
400
see.
people that came.
Insane,
Oh my gosh,
right?
it's amazing.
So I know it's going to be a powerful movement that you guys are creating, right? And there's going to be plenty of women who join, because their life's going to be impacted.
Oh,
And their life's
absolutely.
going to change. And I believe it because I can see it in your eyes.
Yes.
So I love to see the passion there. And I'm excited to see what comes of that.
Thank you. Thank
Love
you.
that,
Very
love that.
excited.
Well, closing thoughts. I'm going to ask you like maybe a question or two. I
Okay.
kind of want to get your thoughts. But there is a time where maybe you didn't know you were going to grow this huge office or this huge business you guys have. If you had the opportunity to go back in time, and at any age, it could be when you're 5, it could be when you're 20, and you can give yourself one piece of advice. Nothing can change, but you want to give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
So I would say,
What age and what would it be?
I think I would just reaffirm at every stage that, don't get ahead of yourself. It's going to work out.
Love that.
Because I think for me, it's not so much different decisions. To me, it's the anxiety and the stress of what's going to happen, right? Like I play that over and over. Is it the right decision? And then you question yourself. So just learning not to question yourself, and then to do more things that you think you can't do.
Gotcha.
Because every time I've done something that I don't want to, I didn't want to be the chapter president of NARP. I did not want to become a broker of record, but I just felt like I needed to do it. And I struggled so much, and it took me a long time to come to terms with it. I would just say, hey, if you see something that you think you shouldn't do, that's kind of your own natural way of trying to protect yourself from growth.
Yeah.
So don't shy away from growth.
For opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm going to share that clip with Jeff. That clip specifically, I'm going to chop in and be like, here you go, brother. You got to go everywhere. But same question for you.
My response is pretty similar. I would say it would be in my 20s. I was a single mom. I was a teenage mom. Didn't finish college. Went to college, didn't finish it. I was paying my way through college, a couple jobs. So at that time, I would say to myself, it's all going to be just fine. Just go for it.
That's right.
Don't hesitate.
That's right.
Don't have
already
any
yours.
fear. You're gonna be okay, and just go for it. Like no fear, no hesitation. At the time, that was probably, my lowest point was, oh my gosh, how can I keep paying my bills? Raise this child. I'm single, but I have all these dreams that I want to accomplish, but I don't know how. It looks so dark now. And if I could go back and say, it's going to be just fine. It's all going to work out.
love
Just
that.
go through it. Just do it.
Put your head down and go.
Put your head down and go.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, that's a mic drop right there. We'll finish off with that. Thank you guys. I hope you guys got a ton of value from this podcast and video that we're doing here. I'll see you guys on the next one. SoCal Cedeno, out.